Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. Man, we were vibing pre-stream, dropping some of that crown chakra from one of Crypto Face's boys. Has a bunch of crypto sort of hip-hop tracks that, you know what, sometimes we just got to shake off the stress that we feel in the market when it's going, very fast moves like that. We're always excited when it's green candles. We get a little shaken about when it's red candles. And man, I happened to be staring at the chart when it happened, and it was a matter of about, it was under 5 minutes. It was so quick. So quick. Dropped. It just, the bottom fell out of the market. Why did the bottom fall out of the market? We're going to talk about that. It's never one thing. It's usually when you see something like that, a combination of things. And I'll tell you what, it was a combination of things. Part of it has to do with poor risk management from a lot of people in the space trading on high leverage, record levels of liquidations happening, more liquidations than happened when the FTX debacle collapsed the market. So we're going to be breaking that down. The question is right now, we got 77 people in the room, 49 likes. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Let's dive right on into it today. Again, my name's Kellam. This is where you can find all my information right here. We're going to be breaking down these markets, breaking down these charts, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, AVAX, Quant, and many, many more. So let's talk about it. What happened? What happened with these markets? Let me go ahead and get these song. There we go. Let's first off hop right on into the charts. And before we do that, I just want to ask everybody in the room. We got 74 people in the room. Where are you tuned in from right now, today? What city, what state, what country? Let's see where the spread is today. How you feeling? Are you scared? Let me go ahead and throw shout out. Maybe a Band-Aid said your cut of my 848% short. I took off that TA yesterday afternoon. Oh my God. You know what? Thank you so much. Again, nothing I share on here is financial advice, but if you learn something from it and it helps you protect your capital, then shout out to you. Thank you so much for that super chat. Maybe a Band-Aid. I appreciate you so much. Let's go ahead and put a poll in the audience right now. Did you, and here it is. We're putting it in. Capitu, lose money? Did you capitalize and make money? Were you on the sidelines? Or still lost looking for a taco? See what you did. Let me know in that community poll right there. Everybody involved, hit that poll. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you were doing in the market. If you're watching anywhere else, make sure you head over to BitLab Academy YouTube page here at youtube.com/@BitLab Academy, or you can just Google YouTube search BitLab Academy. Come give us a follow. We still have over 55% of the people that watch on a daily basis are not subscribed. You're here every day, but you're not joining the community. Get involved. We'd love to have you here. Let's go ahead and dive right on into it today. First things first, look at this chart. Did anything really happen? It was scary. Like on a 15-minute candle, it really was like on a 5-minute candle, but we not only came down, tested this line, we did wick past it. But remember, when you're looking at these major timeframes, this is a 5-day chart, a little bit of a forewarning about what may be happening on a weekly chart. In this case, our weekly closes on Sunday night at 8 p.m. But look at where we're at. Price, all it's done currently is retest this line. And if we look, there's still a higher low here. But there's conflicting signals here. And that's what technical analysis is all about. Nothing is going to be easy. If you're going to make life-changing money, it's not meant to be easy, because then everybody would be able to do it. And that would skew the ability to navigate that in the market. Markets are not sustainable when absolutely everybody's making money. So if you're able to take a shot, not in the dark, but taking a focused shot based on the stack of the probabilities you stack up together to give you an informed decision while managing your risk. Currently, this looks like we're still holding a major level. At the same time, we do have this rounding top. We've also talked about the Elliott wave, where we have push up 1, pullback, push up 2, pullback, push up 3, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave, local potential, local top. This also makes sense because of the level this is at right here. However, if this is a local top, but we're also holding this key support, it seems the market is at odds. It's trying to make a decision about what's going to happen. This is why it's important to do multiple different forms of analysis when you are trading. And although the price pushed up right here, yes, we have the hopium in the market because of the ETFs. We may even get a decision today regarding the grayscale court battle going on with the SEC about all the unfounded, the claim is the unfounded denials of the Bitcoin spot ETF from the SEC to GBTC to grayscale. But what's going to happen? Well, there's a lot going on in the market. Let's actually jump away from the charts for a second. And yes, don't worry, stick around. We're going to be breaking down all this in technical analysis on the charts, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a bunch of the altcoins. But we got to talk about a little bit, what the hell happened? Why did the bottom fall out of the market? Well, first things first, we have been telegraphing this based on my analysis that is informed from years of experience. And it's never going to be 100% right all the time. But what I've been saying on this channel, and I've also talked about it when I was doing TA on the BitBoy Crypto Show, is the fact that the market was suggesting that some sort of downward impulse was coming. In addition to that, that was stacked on top of the fact that we were at record low volatility for Bitcoin, meaning large amount of volatility was going to come in. And you know what? People want to have a directional bias and say large amount of volatility, we're about to explode to the upside. Well, we got the opposite of that because volatility doesn't care about what you want the price to do. Volatility cares about no volatility, expansion to volatility. The expansion to volatility is not directionally biased. It can be up or down. In this case, if you're trying to figure out which way the volatility is going to break, the chart was suggesting that downside break was probably more likely than upside. Now, it doesn't mean downside had to happen, but you know what? The probabilities ruled in favor by the direction that the price actually went. We saw, again, on this chart, this rounding top, AKA telegraphing a loss of bullish momentum. Key level that we came into. We got rejected. Biggest news in history of Bitcoin. BlackRock spot ETF and all their positive comments on national and international television about Bitcoin being an international asset that's going to transcend government currencies and other assets. And yet we could not break this level. So loss of momentum, speculative hype, lack of follow through, coming down to a known level, no new positive narrative to really push it higher. So when the volatility exploded, it exploded to the downside. Now, shout out again to maybe a Band-Aid and any other of you. You may or may not want to comment in the chat, but if you hedged your position based on any of the analysis in this show, again, this was your own decision. This is not due to what I said. I hope you know that. You all are smart enough to manage your capital. This is your capital that you need to protect. But if you hedged any of your position and saw some of the same things I did, and got a little bit out of the market or adjusted stop losses, and you're a little questioning of it. You're like, and then the market drops out and you're like, oh my gosh, thank God it did. Let me know in chat right now. Comment down below whether or not you got it from this channel or anywhere else. Were you marked safe from this drop? Well, let's go ahead and talk about a little bit what the hell's going on. Why now? Why the drop? Well, we were talking about open interest the other day, remember? A lot of open interest, both longs and shorts. There's a little bit more shorts, but both longs and shorts. And so if price gets past a certain position, a certain point in price, that would that would mean that there's going to be some forced buying or forced selling. In this case, we got forced selling of the closures. If we look, where is it at? I thought I had it saved. I'll move this over here. Close my Coinbase. I don't know where it's at. Oh, I shared it on my wall. So look at this. Bitcoin volatility. We talked about the contraction of volatility. Here's the expansion of volatility. And as I said, volatility is not directionally biased. Price moved down. Look at this. Volatility skyrocketed. It's amazing. I posted this yesterday, and I'm not joking. It was 2 minutes after I posted this is when the market crashed. So I asked, is this the reason why it crashed? Where is it way? I'm pretty sure. Here it is. Just in 769 million liquidated from the crypto market in the past 30 minutes. Let's kind of head over. And by the way, if you haven't yet, make sure you're following me right here at Kelly Kellam. You can also see all my information, boom, right next to my face right there. But we want to come over here, go to CoinGlass, coinglass.com. This is where we can get some liquidation data. We want to see, this is a story. This is a lesson. Every data point that you can pull together is a lesson to help you make smart decisions in the market. We look at this. I mean, golly, $855 million, nearly $1 billion in liquidations in the crypto market. The largest portion of that being in OKX. We have a story about that. We'll talk about it in a little bit. This is people. Why would they do that? Well, first off, you could argue that if we look at this chart, it was right here on this major support, this line right here, which if we zoom back out, remember, this line was a key line, bounce, bounce, bounce. And so a lot of people are saying we're at support, record low volatility, directionally biased. I'm going up. I'm not going to hedge myself. I'm going for the moon because I want to catch up to other people with more money. When you try to catch up to people with more money, what you do is donate your money to them to make them richer. Don't try to catch up to somebody else with more money. You need to trade smart for you. And if you want to make the same kind of money and have the same type of capital and portfolios that these rich people, wealthy people, smart money does, then you need to look at the pattern and the process that they do and grind at it. It sucks to hear, but that's what you have to do. Unless you're 1 in a million, which, think about it, it's like buying a lottery ticket. You very well could have bought this and it could have gone up, because you see this, this is what you want because you see past price action, that's what it did. But the context here and here is very different. Here, you had a large expansion. Here, you still had a pretty damn large expansion, and we're below this roadblock that was above us of this massive region that was directly above our head. Here, came up to this zone, got rejected at this zone. We're back down at this level. And now we have a story of, yes, we had 2 expansions, but we can see 1, 2, 3 expansions, and each expansion has diminished over time, and we had lack of follow through with the biggest news in history. So maybe there's a little bit more hedging that needs to take place, a little bit more safety that we need to look at in terms of how we're managing our capital and managing our trades. So I just want to point that out. Now let's go ahead and dive into some of the things. What caused the crash? Well, price action, the momentum, everything has already been telegraphing this for a while, but China property group giant files for U.S. bankruptcy. Who cares about the Chinese property group, right? Well, this is a absolute behemoth. This is a monster real estate agency, real estate company, property group. And they don't only have real estate in China. They have, billions of dollars in real estate in the U.S. They have hundreds of billions, I believe, of property and, assets and everything in China. And this has been something that's been going on for, I know, over a year, probably in the course of about 2.5 years at minimum, that this is people are aware of this. People have been aware of this for a long time. This has been off the news, off the radar for a little bit, but this is something, especially, I've been thinking about this as the pressure in China has been getting tighter and tighter. We're starting to see the Chinese government starting to do a little bit of reverse repo buying, trying to inject some capital into the system. But this has been something they've been on the edge of collapse for a long time. And so when we see this, this could mean I think in the long run, this is going to be a very good thing, but this spooked the market. But was this the only thing? Essentially right here, property giant Evergrande has filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. as a real estate crisis in China deepens. Massive. With debts estimated to total more than $300 billion. And they talk about people not being smart with the money as individuals. Look at what our government's doing. Look at these massive companies. Think about Enron. Think about FTX. Think about, banks. Think about, it's absurd in the US that we even have credit scores based on, and they're able to deny us based on something being, 2 or 3 points above or below a credit score. And we have the people that are managing the finances that shape the world have no freaking idea how to balance a book. They're so hell-bent on figuring out ways to take money from other people, and they're rewarded for it, and they get bailed out. This is just ridiculous. Let's go to this next story here, follow up on this. China's Evergrande asked court to approve debt plan and rejects bankruptcy claims. A Chinese real estate developer is struggling to avoid defaulting on the $340 billion debt, said it's asking the U.S. court to approve a restructuring plan for foreign bondholders and rejected claims that it has filed for bankruptcy. So there's a little bit lack of clarity on what's going on here. Evergrande Group's mountain of debt prompted fears in 2021. So you see this was what I'm talking about over 2 years ago of a possible default that might send shockwaves through the global financial system. China's government has tried to reassure investors that its problems are contained and that lending markets will be kept functioning. Thursday's request under Chapter 15 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code, a normal step in the overseas restructuring procedure and doesn't involve bankruptcy filings. But this also has ripple effects. If I don't pay my debt, it has little, if no impact on a bank. They write it off. They send it to debt collections. They could take it as a loss against their taxes. This Chapter 15 basically this request under Chapter 15 the U.S. Bankruptcy Code essentially allows Evergrande to have these debts and protects them from debt collectors saying, hey, you need to come and pay your debts. Who are those debts to? If it's in the U.S., then there's going to be a lot of U.S. lenders that are now going to not be paid, and they can't ask to be paid until this stuff is resolved. So there's a lot of effects here. $340 billion in debt. Holy malarkey, as my mom would say. Now, looking here, the next thing is, did Tesla or SpaceX sell a bunch of crypto? I think there's some confusion here. Some of this is speculation. Whether or not it's true, there's no clarity yet. Unless I'm wrong, you guys can let me know. Post an article here if I am wrong. Let me know if the audio visual is working good. It looks like it's kind of skipping on my end. But scrolling down here, I have some things highlighted. Asset write-downs. So here we go. SpaceX merely wrote down the value of its Bitcoin holdings as per the Wall Street Journal. Among accountants, that is a reduction in the book value of an asset when its fair market value has fallen below the book value. Asset write-downs are common among businesses as it reduces the value of any holdings for tax purposes. As of Asia morning hours on Friday, SpaceX did not confirm or report any sales of its Bitcoin holdings. As such, it remains unknown how much Bitcoin or crypto the Elon Musk-owned company holds. So what's really going on here? Well, is it a long squeeze? Think about all the spot ETFs out there that are trying to get in position for a number of reasons. One, it may help bolster their application. They have to have a capital. They're institutions that know what's coming to the market here very shortly with spot ETF approvals. There are smart money players, whales. I'm not talking about your buddy that's got $1 million. I'm talking about multi-$100 million and multi-billion dollar institutions out there that see all this news from BlackRock. That was a go-ahead. They know the race is on because everybody is now trying to participate in this ecosystem before. They want to get some flags planted before the assets go up. Is this some manipulation by large money? Pushing things past liquidation zones for longs to get those lower prices to start getting set up? Knowing that the halving's coming, knowing that we have huge prices, probably parabolic run coming here in the near future. For us, it feels like it's forever away because it's sometime next year, sometimes also sometime into 2025. But in smart money and in institutional money, that is tomorrow, because they're looking 30, 50, 80 years out. So next year, they are preparing, and many of them have been preparing for some time. I'm excited to see at the end of at the end of quarter three, what kind of money is on the books of some of these large institutions, publicly traded companies, billionaire investors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think we're going to start seeing some surprises, and I do think there's going to be a little bit of a positive shock to the market when those things start getting reported. As professional traders say, market structure and liquidations were a likely reason for the sudden drop instead of a singular fundamental catalyst. Exactly what I was just saying. It's not going to be a single thing. There's several things. One, we saw the lack of momentum, but we also see that there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines ready, and there's this market is small. The market cap of Bitcoin is small. The market cap for altcoins is exponentially even smaller. It's very easy for them to push these things around. The market has also been relatively illiquid and flat, creating conditions ripe for sudden movements. Illiquid, why? We've talked about this. We brought up the on-chain metrics. Over 75% of the market of the coins being held is held off exchange in long-term holder wallets. If it's not on exchange, then it's not liquid. If it's not liquid, then there's not a lot of supply for any sort of demand, whether it's long or short. So you can move price relatively easily with exponentially smaller amount of money than if you were to have a lot of liquid asset. Yes, we've seen Bitcoin open interest ramp up in position with the bias towards shorts. This is what we were talking about the other day, said Decentral Park Capital trader Lewis Hard to message to CoinDesk. The break below 28,500 led to material volumes of longs being liquidated. This has been combined with spot selling ahead of the date. Okay, open interest refers to the number of unsettled futures contracts. This is leverage. This is actual, options futures. This is all these different sort of derivatives. In a flat market, the rapid building up of a significant amount of futures positions sometimes causes price to fall quickly in the event of a large sell-off by an influential player. I have some charts to talk about this here in a moment. That is because as prices fall lower, long trades have to sell their positions to avoid getting liquidated. That's even if they're able to, if it doesn't move so fast that they just get liquidated, adding to increased selling pressure, meaning the longs, people that were buying that hopium we were just talking about. Where's my chart? I always lose my chart. Here we go. When we're right at this level, as soon as price starts breaking down, and it was for about 2 or 3 days, remember, it got pushed down to this 28.5 level. Think about it. We had marked this off, this 0.5, that's 28.2. So as soon as price came down to about this level, let's go to the 2 hour. There we go. So you see this bounced 28, had a little wick down, 28.369, came back up. Once it lost this level again, this was the beginning of the true fall. Boom. Like that. So a lot of people were buying this in hopes that this was going to be a deviation down, hoping to go up. Why? Trading on hope. Trading on hope doesn't allow you to make money. It only provides you the opportunity to donate to somebody else's wealth. So coming back to where we just were, where were we? There we go. At the same time, creating an endless loop of falling prices and long position covering. Data shows most long liquidations took place on crypto exchange OKX, accounting for nearly 40% of the entire market in terms of where the liquidations were coming from, what exchange. Now here, funding rates, this is what we were talking about the other day with positive and negative funding rates for those people that are taking longs or shorts on derivatives markets. If most people are going long, you get a high positive funding rate. So it costs more money to go long. It incentivizes people to get paid to take shorts. Helps balance the market. In this case, it didn't quite work because we had the market fall out from under us. But funding rates are periodic payments made by traders on the difference between prices in the futures and spot market. Depending on their open positions, traders will either pay or receive funding. So if everybody's going long, shorts get paid the funding. If everybody's going short, longs get paid the funding. The payments ensure there are always participants on both sides of the trade. This is what I was talking about the other day. If we come over here, we scroll back up. This is coinglass.com. We look at funding rates. We can see what the funding rate, let's go to 1 day. So things are still short on Bitcoin, short, a little tiny, just on the edge of being long, gate on the edge of being long. So we can see this. Now coming over, let's go back to where we just were. Okay. Meanwhile, traders seem to be waiting for Grayscale court ruling about the issuance of an exchange-traded fund, a ruling widely expected to be announced on Friday. Are we going to get a ruling today? Is the market going to have a V-shaped recovery and just rock it back up? It's possible. Am I going to trade with that expectation? No. I trade on strategy, not expectation, but I may hedge a little bit of position. Maybe I take a little bit of a position in some of those assets that I moved out of. Remember, I moved out of quite a pretty substantial position August 4th. In fact, if we come over here, I didn't mean to be catty by saying this, but it's kind of proving a point. Where is it at? Look at the new Mustang. That's such a nice new Mustang. This is the post I did August 4th. Today I sold a huge portion of my altcoin holdings. Chart suggesting a likely corrective downtrend coming. This is August 4th. This is 14 days ago. With the biggest news week in Bitcoin and crypto failing to break 32K, what bullish winds can bring forth upward continuation? For this reason, I'm hedging in safety. Now, a lot of people commented on that. Oh, I'm buying you. Why would you sell? Oh my God, you're so stupid. So I just said to those that commented, why would you sell? I'll buy your bags. It's going up, etc. I'm sorry for your loss. You got to look at what the price is telling you and trade on your own strategy. Now, I commend all these folks. They did buy. Hopefully they put in stop losses. But the market can always go a number of different ways. This was my analysis. This is what I was seeing. Now, coming back over here, a federal appeals court will publish its ruling on the ongoing Grayscale versus SEC case that would determine if the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission was unreasonable in its repeated denial of Grayscale's proposed ETF. The ruling in Grayscale's favor is expected to create a market-wide surge, while the opposite could jolt markets further. So the question here, now this is all speculation. The question here, if there is going to be a release in data today regarding the SEC versus Grayscale versus SEC case, do you think that it's going to come out today? Do you think it's going to get delayed? Do you think it's going to get basically saying no, the SEC is right in line? What do you think is going to happen? Because this will move the markets one way or the other. We need to pay attention to that. Now, coming here. Here's who contributed to the Bitcoin 8% drop. I forget why I brought this up. Oh, this is it right here. So I was talking about big money players. The dust has far from settled after crypto markets had one of its sharpest drops of 2023. We're seeing a large amount of $1 million+ valuation Bitcoin transactions, indicating whales are very active on this dump, but the amount of large wallets is not falling. Now, I want you to notice with this here, amount of Bitcoin with 1 million+ transaction began surging before and during the dump down below 26.6K. Number of 10+ Bitcoin addresses still staying high. So this implies the whales are very active in this drop, as Sentiment noted in the tweet. Sentiment wrote in a graphic attached to his tweet that Bitcoin whale transactions to a month high today, soared to a month high today, and they started before the big drop. The amount of Bitcoin, 1 million transactions, began surging before and during the dump. Okay, the on-chain data platform stated in a tweet. We've already read all that, but you get my point here. Now, scrolling down here, at the time of writing, Bitcoin remained down 7.27% in the last 24 hours, around 26,400 currently. Currently, Bitcoin traders are concentrating on the $25,000 mark. So everybody's looking at that $25,000 level, below which options positioning signals another wave of liquidations may occur. So we got to pay attention to that. Now, coming back over here to these charts, so we're about to dive into a bunch of TA. So I want everybody in the room to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We're going to be breaking down a lot of stuff about some hope in the charts as well as some fear, so we can make sure that we are stacking the probabilities in our favor. Again, thank every one of you for being here. Let's talk about what's going on. So here we got from Tech Dev. He's got the Gaussian channel right here. And we can see Bitcoin, US dollar, 1 week. This is US dollar. Bitcoin, US dollar, 1 week. Bitstamp, this is a Bitcoin, US dollar, feel like this, oh yeah, my wires got crossed there. This is 2014, 2015, 2016. This is 2021, 2022, 2023. You can see, obviously the markets are slightly different. We had a higher high here, but we also have mass inflation into the zone. So some people would argue that this higher high was somewhat, I don't want to say fabricated, but as such, because the value of the dollar was lower, mass inflation was coming in. So we got this pump higher than this high with relatively no new interest buying this. This was just lack of sellers. So somewhat similar setup here. We also see the correlation of where the price is to where the Gaussian channel is. Similarly, we broke down below it, had this sort of wide sort of accumulation phase, broke above the, not only into the Gaussian channel, broke above the center line, came just outside of it, boom, right here, came just outside of it, and we're riding, look at this, flip green, essentially telling you, you know, strong bearish trend, a lot of resistance. Now we flip this green. It's very important that we stay above that center line on the Gaussian channel. This is but one metric. So Kelly, what do the other metrics say? The most interesting part of last night's sell-off is that Bitcoin dominance has put in another lower high. It is trending back towards the breakout zone. In retrospect, this is happening due to Bitcoin-specific selling from SpaceX. The market seems to be absorbing the news well. We had the sell-off. We had a pretty strong buyback in terms of the bulls, bringing that, you know, strong wick, the large wick to the downside, meaning the bulls bought up a lot of that. Also, if you look at things like AVAX, dropped all the way down into the low 10s, and there's already, I haven't looked at it right now, but we'll bring it up in a second. It's already back up near 11. So I had almost a, 8% bounce back up, maybe a little more. Now looking at this chart right here, Bitcoin D3 Heikinashi. So this is a 3-day hammer candle. Appears again since March 8th, 2023. It happened at a similar price structure condition, breaking a recent support. This brought Bitcoin to surge over 50% last time. If Bitcoin does the same degree of bull run, it will reach 40K shortly. Now, this is a hopium chart. I want you guys to have some hope because this is a potentiality. Now, the odds are still stacked in favor of the bears, but when we get large moves, it tends to move the opposite direction of what people think. And right now, there's a lot of fear in the market. And within that fear, there's going to be a lot of buying opportunity, especially for institutions. The question is going to be, did this liquidity grab to the downside? Did this satisfy? That's a question you have to answer yourself based on your strategy. So I cannot believe it right now. We've got 211 people in the room, but we only have 98. Like less than half of you have hit that like button. Everybody, let YouTube know you like crypto content, and especially if you watch this on a daily basis, hit that subscribe button and join us here in this community. Now, look at this. Sell off, large wick, and I wouldn't quite fully call this a hammer candle, but it is by the definition because we have a large wick and a small, the body, but this is fairly equal in size. But similar thing happened right here. Question is going to be, what's the resolution? What's the follow through after this? We also have lower volume trading coming. When? Tomorrow and Sunday. Weekend trading. Larger accounts. Institutions. Smart money. They don't tend to be super active on the weekend. Why? They're out there living on and spending that money from the dumb money traders out there that are donating it to them. They trade during the week because they come from the traditional asset sort of investment space. Now, this is a possibility, so we have to pay attention to this as an opportunity potentially for the bulls. Now, looking right here, I do want to kind of support that by this nature. This is Bitcoin 4-hour RSI, the most oversold it has ever been. This is from the Wolf of Wall Street's Mr. Scott Melker himself, basically scrolling back on the chart showing how deep that we have gone on the RSI. You see where we're at right now. We've only very few times made it anywhere near down there, scrolling very far back. We're very, very low. What does that mean? Some people want to say it's an oversold signal. RSI is a strength signal. This means that it's very weak, while it can also be thought of as being very oversold. But we have to stack the probabilities with other charts and other data. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We got to talk about the price. What's going on? Where is it going? Let's talk about it. Okay, zooming, let's come over here to the BitLab trading stack. Look at this increase in volume. Excitement's coming back into the market. Excitement doesn't mean up or down. Excitement just means a lot of activity in the market. People are scared here. So what do? Let's come over here. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Got a lot going on. Came here, lost this level. Now, look at this down here on the bottom, this bottom indicator, this oscillator. This is a BitLab trend fuel. And on this oscillator, what we can see is that we have a lot of momentum expanding to the downside, and it turns from these white squares to red. This means a lot of selling momentum. In fact, look right here on the order flow. We can see the order flow here. We've got mixed signal. It's very neutral because we have 2 green, 2 gray, 2 red. So this is as neutral as it could be. But we're looking at the 4-hour chart, and we're seeing a somewhat dominant selling. Now, we also see that we have a bear pennant on this. So what would the target be out of this if this does break down, which it looks like it's attempting right now? So coming right here, we're not even going to go all the way down to the bottom of the wick. We're going to be a little conservative here. But I want you to notice something. Look at this. Where does this go to? You cannot make this up when you're looking at TA. Where does this go to? Right to this line. What is this line? Well, let's zoom out. Let's see what the hell this line is. If we take from the bottom side of this sort of zone right here, this wick to this touch point, we zoom this out, we sort of project this out. Not only do we have a parallel channel here, we also have one more zone right here, which is right in line with that number that article we just talked about was suggesting was a critical level. That is that $25,000 level. And remember, that's a regional level. It doesn't have to be on the dot. We see that with this blue bar right here, we have, this was the hurdle. This was so exciting when price broke through the 24.8 to 25.2 sort of zone, because this is where we're getting rejected. Boom, boom, boom. We came up and we also bounced on it, making this level even stronger. And look at this, back to the 4-hour. Now that we know what that level is, let's actually come out of this chart. Let's come right here. It's a cleaner chart. We come here on the 4-hour. We can see, look at that. It is attempting that breakdown. Let's go to the 2-hour, get a little bit more clarity. Option T gives us the sort of, there we go. So we had a bear flag. And with this, we can do option T and get our extrapolation, move this down. We see if this does break down, this also is testing the low side of this range. Currently, we still have a higher low. Price is still going to perform, I think, fairly high. I'm talking like 95% or higher likelihood that price is going to perform well in 2024 and 2025. Post-halving, that's the best performing price period of Bitcoin. But maybe this is part of that shakeout. When I'm talking about that, what I mean is looking on the 3-day, zooming out, this right here, you know, we could be somewhere right here. We could even have some other black swan. This is the global economic shutdown, but we can see we had a large push up and then a sell off. We look at the previous, where's a halving? Bitcoin halving events. There we go. So this is 2014 into 2015, 2016. We had a push up, sell off, push up, sell off. So is it going to be a big push up, sell off, or is it going to be like sort of straggling on the way up, stair stepping? Either way, this is a halving period right here around the middle of April. It's going to be plus or minus a couple weeks here, depending on how many. The 210,000 blocks is when you get the halving, and it, you know, because it's roughly every 10 minutes. You can't say the exact date until we get closer. But it's projected out to be somewhere about the middle of April. So we've had this push up, sell off, push up, sell off, push up, sell off, but we haven't really had a sell off. Let's see. That was a 20% sell off. That was 20% sell off. Oops. Let's see where we're at. We're right at about a 15% sell-off. Are we going to get that 20% sell-off again? Which would basically be roughly at the same level right here. And then the question is going to be, are we in for an endeavored and frustrating period where price actually comes down, bounces on this, comes up, gets rejected at the 786, and then breaks down further, maybe down near the 1.382 or the 1.618? It's a possibility. We have these levels here. Look at this. In line, 1.382 in line with this level right here. Got a bounce here, rejection here. We also have this level right here. So what's going to be happening with price action? As it stands right now, this is a pretty substantial sell-off. I do expect at some point, probably relatively soon, maybe even over the weekend, a bull trap coming to the upside and getting rejected here at the 27.3 to 27.5 sort of zone, this golden pocket of this move, of which we've been respecting a lot of these levels. Come down to the 4-hour, we can see that. Remember, we had a little bit of a hesitation here, right here. It was bouncing on the 382. Came down. We had a little bit of a bounce above the 0.5. We sliced right through the 618, the golden pocket. So whether or not we break down here and then have a rebound up, get rejected somewhere between the 786 and the 618, or this just falls down and comes down, either way, we need to be prepared for price action in either direction. People are worried right now. But then at the same time, when we see all these things with unconfirmed reports of this selling from SpaceX and from Tesla and from Elon Musk, if the report comes out there's been no selling and Grayscale gets a positive news, this very positive news on the SEC case, this very well could come back up like this and moonshot. I won't call it full moonshot, but a recovery back into this these patterns above. We see right now, this momentum is rounding, but we're still getting a lot of sell pressure, which is why these bars are red. 4-hour on the Bitstamp chart, starting to stack up with some bullish signals, but the price is still falling. This is suggesting there are buyers that are trying to make attempts, but the bears are selling larger positions. So the bears are currently in control right now until this narrative flips. So do we get this double bottom? Boom, in this zone right here. And then maybe even just trade sideways and frustrate the living hell out of everybody. But are they going to frustrate everybody? No, they're going to frustrate people that only want it to go up or only want it to go down. In reality, for those of you with the strategy, if this does create, you know, some sort of zone here where we have these points like this, maybe the price action, you know, kind of gets a little deviation up, etc., and trades sideways, and then starts to push up pre-halving, and then sells off into this zone right here, and then we get that ultimate move up out of the zone post-halving parabola to the upside. This would probably be the best opportunity because then you can trade this range back and forth. And it's going to, which I could see happening because of all the institutional interest and smart money interest pre-halving and post all this positive PR that's come from the BlackRock ETFs and all the spotlight's been happening in the media regarding what's going on in the markets. And there's more awareness than ever before that the halving is a key factor in understanding whether or not it is true or not. Some people argue it has nothing to do with the halving. Some people argue, like TechDev argues, that maybe it has something more to do with the, let me go ahead and pull him up, TechDev. Maybe it has something more to do with global liquidity. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe Satoshi Nakamoto was so damn smart, he set up, or he or she or they set up the 4-year halving cycle and started it to run parallel to global liquidity cycles. We can see right here, where is it? He posted it before, right here, boom. No, that's not it. Where the hell did I just saw it this morning? Liquidity cycles. No, I don't know where it is. He posted it this morning, I thought. I don't know. But he has a whole chart showing, outlining, does it have anything to do really with the halving, or does it have more to do with the global liquidity? Is it right here? Here we go. So we can see Chinese 10-year, this goes up, Bitcoin goes up. This starts rolling over. This, crashes. This crash. A lot of struggle here. A lot of struggle. Even when we were trying to push up, we still have the sell-off. This is moving up. This front ran the Bitcoin price going up a lot. Huge bullish divergence. Where we're at right now, we can see that the Chinese 10-year versus the Dixie is right on the edge of a potential breakout. So there is potential fuel that's coming in, especially with all this issue with Evergrande and the global awareness of the struggle China's going through right now and lack of liquidity and et cetera. We just saw they did a $40 billion injection in the reverse repo market. Are we about to see a large stimulus come into play? Are they going to do some money printing? Have they been lying on their numbers? Let's be honest. They haven't been very honest. Is there something about to pop here with global liquidity? Well, we've talked a lot about this. We also see the MACD has flipped bullish here. And this is on the Chinese 10-year. So this is a front-running signal to what may be happening with Bitcoin. Price is looking down. It feels scary, but when you look at the data, it's okay if it drops a little bit, even if it chops around here in a $4,000 to $5,000 range. We know what's happening into the future based on where the cycles have been in the past, or at least we can stack the probabilities to plan accordingly. And we know the tokenomics of Bitcoin, and we know the global adoption that's coming. So let's not be so scared on this drop in price right now. Let's look at it as opportunity. Do you see this as opportunity, or do you see this as, God dang it, I don't want this to go down any further? Let's go ahead and close this poll. Let's see what you guys say. You guys said capitalize and make money, 34%. On the sidelines, 30%. Still lost. Oh, you're still lost looking for a taco, said 17%. 16% of you capitulated and lost money. I'm very sorry to hear that. Take this as a lesson. Don't take this as a loss. Take that as a tuition towards you understanding these markets better. Now let's kind of come back over here. Let's look at what's going on. Let's delete some of these lines so we can. Come on. You got it, Daddy. So many lines. So 3-day angle down, momentum down, RSI down. What does stochastic say? Let's actually hear style. Stochastics kind of on the low side. That doesn't mean we have room. When we do try to push up, we got a lot of things reset here. What does it look like on the 12-hour? Huge selling volume. The VWAP is starting to angle. Maybe this is an indication that we might see a little bit of a relief here, but as it stands, when we're looking at the pattern, this does look like it's trying to make an attempt lower. We're on the Bitstamp chart. What does it look like on the BitGet chart? Let's see what's going on here. Okay, we got a wick here all the way down to 24. What's the low here? 24,635. So we broke 25 on BitGet. I don't know what this line is here. We can delete that. On this, we did break a lower low. This is why you want to look at different exchanges, because you get a more aggregate view about what's going on. Now, there's also a derivatives exchange, so this has something to do with a lot of people forced selling, and you get a lot faster movement to the downside, and it comes back up. Even with all of this, notice, even with all this movement, we had a descending level of volume. We got a little bit of a rise here, but you could also argue that you have, even with that, you have a rise. So we do have a little bit of a breakout of volume, which is understandable because we just had a breakout in volatility. But looking here on the 12-hour, look how much red is on the BitGet chart. 1, 2, 2 neutral, and 2 red. So 4 out of 6 of these signals in the BitLab Trend Fuel dashboard are showing bearishness on the 12-hour. What does it look like on the 8-hour? Mostly bearish. We're getting a little bit of an attempt by the VWAP, but let's come down to the 2-hour. Look at this, even on the 2-hour, a lot of bearishness. VWAP's trying to make an attempt, but I have a feeling like this is going to get a lower low from this high here and roll back down. Look at this. Also, important note, looking here on the stochastics, this orange line, this brownish line here came out, topped out, and is rolling over. You can also see that right here. The stochastics, I guess it doesn't show it when it's on the vertical, but this S is for stochastics. This came out, topped out. It's right about 80%. So when you have a 0 to 100, you know, when you're looking at stochastics and RSI, this is up in the overbought category. There's too much strength, unfounded. It's about to fall back down. And look at how high this is. Look at the split between this and the RSI. RSI is super low, super weak, while any bullish momentum that was attempted is already exhausted, and look at where we're at. This is suggesting to me a likely further move to the downside. But remember, on any positive news that comes into the market, I don't mean any, I mean like some of this big news that's right on the edge of it's right on the horizon. If it were to come out today in a positive factor, not just a neutral factor, but positive, Elon Musk says we haven't sold anything, here's the books, or Grayscale having that court case be resolved, and they come out against the SEC, the court does, I mean, then very quick move up, because potentially what we would see there is an inverted head and shoulders. Fast move down, chop, and fast move back up. Remember, it's if something like that happens. We can't trade on if. We can set our levels and know what's going on. Now, in terms of levels, we know this is the level right here at this low is 24,870. If we lose that low, I do think that we will be coming down to test lower side price action. Now let's delete this Fibonacci. Let's look at a larger swath of area, and let's look at a larger time frame Fibonacci of this entire move. So where are we at? We're currently, look at this, finding support, a little bit of a support at the moment, just above the 382. So the question is, are we going to come down here and test this $24,900, $25,000 level, which is, remember, this sort of zone right here where we have these rejections, a little bit of interaction here, bounce right here. We've already tested this once, so there is an argument to be made that we come down here, test this, and move back up. But know that we still have a pretty high potential based on what's going on right now with all the downward price action, that the price comes down and scares the living hell out of everybody and taps into this $22,000, $21,000 to $22,000 region, which is the golden pocket of this full move. Then we would have true sort of resetting of shaking out any weak hands that are there, probably bringing even some of those long-term holders, not a lot, but some of those long-term holders moving on to exchange, and then potential bounce. Let me come over here. Let me come to my face real quick. Boom, right here. That's not what I want to do. Just cam. There we go. I want to pull up Glassnode and see if there's any data. I want to see if there's been any capitulation of holders starting to prepare for potential sells. And we do that by looking at the exchange net position change. We want to see if there's movement onto exchange, which, remember, we had that preceding reduction in coins coming off of exchange that was looking like that momentum was about to shift to coins moving on to exchange. Coins moving on to exchange suggests that there's some potential selling coming, because people are moving out of private holdings onto exchange, and they typically do that if they're going to sell. So let's see. I don't even know if this has been updated yet to today's price action. This might be a day or two old. Let's kind of zoom in here. Coming on back onto the screen. So August 17th. This does have the drop. We don't yet have coins coming onto exchange, but we have very few coins coming off of exchange. It's going to be very interesting what happens here. Very interesting. Reserve risk, where you at? Let's zoom out on this, because that gives us no data. Reserve risk, looking very similar to the Bitcoin price, except we have a lower high here. And if this starts rolling over, it actually puts us in higher and higher, better alpha for risk to reward territory, meaning the lower this goes, the less risk there is for downside. So we want to pay attention to this. This comes down, great. We're still in a great zone in terms of where we're at in respect to where the market is. Addresses with greater than 10,000 balance. No real movement there. What else do I have in here? Short-term holder. Realized price. MVRV for short-term holders. This is trying to break down here, meaning that, yeah. So this is looking, anywhere we go below this is better opportunity for position in the bull run. So if you buy something and it goes underwater and you didn't have a stop loss, look at it as a position trade that you're going to take advantage of once price starts really pushing post-halving. You find yourself in a bad position right now, don't capitulate in and out. Allow yourself to remember to be in better position later, have stop losses, understand that. But also, you can adjust your time window right now. And by the way, if you can't adjust your time window because you need this money for rent, then you're putting yourself in an unnecessary risk situation. The risk exposure is too much based on your current setup if you're doing something like that. If you find yourself in a bad position now, you can see that the halving is just around the corner, 5-6 months away. And you can put yourself in a position, changing your time horizon to take advantage of that once we get post-halving. And then you can start looking for taking profits once we break previous all-time high. You start taking profits into this zone right here. Okay? Guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to close this door. I don't know if you could hear that. There's a bunch of lawn care stuff happening right outside on the other side of this wall. So you might not be able to hear it because I got a noise gate on my microphone for things just like that. Now, let's go ahead and jump back into the markets. Let's do a bunch of TA on a bunch of altcoins. Let's talk about what's going on. First off, let's look at Ethereum, Bitcoin. Massive breakdown into a strong rebound. Look at this. Boom, bought up. And if we actually come over here to the Bitcoin dominance chart, look at this dominance drop. This is what we were talking about. This is what we were talking about with on the chart with Caleb Franzen. Now, interesting thing here, though, this is not necessarily all that bullish for altcoins because now we're in a falling wedge on the dominance. If this finds support here and starts moving up, which I expect is more likely than not, even if it breaks a little bit below this and finds support on this level right here, this 48% zone, 48.9, 48.8, I do expect this likely to come back up. And high likelihood, I don't think it has to happen, but high likelihood we test above this level, somewhere around the 50%, if not somewhere in this zone. So pay attention to that. Don't be super bullish on alts just because this is breaking down right now. These losses may translate into altcoins soon. We see right here, even on the total market cap for alts, huge breakdown. We broke down below, oops. We broke down below, there we go. We broke down below the support line, came back up, now we're finding resistance. This is suggesting a further sell-off on this price structure, a further sell-off on altcoins may be setting up. Look at this on the 2-hour. I mean, look at this, perfect, boom. Finding resistance in the dynamic resistance zone below the 50 moving averages. I'm looking at the 2-hour. If we're not able to get back above this line, then I do think this is going to come back down and test down, you know, what is that? Another 2 to 4%, and then we can evaluate if it's going to go lower. So let's go ahead and look at all these coins. Not all of them, but let's look at some of them. Ethereum, look at that sell-off. Pushing right into the bottom side of this EMA ribbon, getting rejected, coming down. A lot of red here on the dashboard on the bottom right, the BitLab trend fuel. Selling pressure, selling volume, a lot of stopping volume here. We come back up. I mean, this retrace is from bottom of the wick to top wick. That's a 6.7% retrace on a basically 50% of the move. I mean, really, this is the bottom side of the move. You can actually say that this is a 11% retrace, 11% up from a, come on, dang it. Measuring tool is the worst tool ever because you can't click if there's anything else there. Yeah, this is, I mean, this recovered the majority of the move. And now look at this. It's basically above equilibrium. If we pull this to looking at the Fibonacci of this move right here, came back up and is riding above the golden pocket here. We could do it from the top side of this move right here. We can see that we are sitting just below the golden pocket. So depending on where you're measuring this from, we're just above or just below. We're in the pocket of the golden pockets, depending on where you're drawing it from. I think this is probably the most appropriate because this is the start of the breakdown, legs, follow through on the breakdown, retracement, and the retracement brought us just under the golden pocket here. And remember yesterday in the afternoon stream, remember, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do an afternoon stream today because I have some things to do. I'll let you know if I am. I don't think I'm going to be able to. But we talked about, I was talking about price on Ethereum coming down to the 1670s, potentially down to 1640. And where did it come down to? It actually dropped further than that. We had a massive sell-off we could not have really looked for. And it came down to 1540, but then came back up right into that zone that I was talking about, the 1650, 1670 sort of zone. Right now, this is looking like it's trying to break back down. Potentially, we'll first look at a level right here, which is 1630, the bottom side of these candle bodies, and potentially further down, retesting down. And I don't know if it's going to immediately come down to 1540, but I do think if this tests down below, it will come test down into the upper 1500s. We do break out of this, and all of a sudden we get a very fast recovery. Let's go to the 4 hour. We do break out of this. What do we look for? Well, we look right here. This is all these lows of this range. And we look right here. Y right here, top side of this range right here. And so if the price does, look at that. This range is right about where this hesitated. If the price does start rebounding up, first things first, looking on the 4 hour, we have the 20 moving average currently at basically 1700. If it were to happen immediately, that's where it would be. If it happens at 8 to 12 hours, somewhere over the weekend, that 20 moving average is going to move down very quickly. We have to get over this 20 moving average first through all this EMA ribbon. But then we're immediately in the next problem area, which is right here at the 786, 1734, which is right in the middle of this dynamic resistance zone. And by this time here, this 50 moving average is going to be somewhere down here as well. So we've got a lot of work to do on the recovery here. We want to make sure if Ethereum is going to break to the upside, that it not only, you don't buy in just because you start seeing a green candle break above 1700. You want to buy on confirmation. If you didn't buy the bottom of this wick right now is a kind of a no-go zone, because as this stands right now, technically you can consider this as a bit of a flag or some sort of bearish structure that's setting up for a continuation to the downside, which would take us down. Where did I say before? And I was doing it just based on looking at the chart, but the actual measured target is down in the upper side of the 1500s. Sawtooth Hiker, $25 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. BitLab fam, keep on. Is there any issue with, is the screen skipping, or is the audio visual, everything okay? I hope it's okay. On my side, it looked like it was locking up there for a second. But that's what we're seeing. Let's go ahead and do a bunch more. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's choppy, because I'm plugged in, hardwired, man. I'm hardwired. But let's look at ADA. ADA, we're on the this is 12 hour. Let's go to the 4 hour. ADA didn't see, let's actually look before I say that. Yeah, it's the same size drop, about 12%. We're coming down. We're getting into this zone, which is also right about the bottom side of, the bottom side. We see bottom of this wick, bottom of these candle bodies right in this sort of zone. We're coming to the decision point. And if we look, let's do Fibonacci, option F from the top to the bottom. Oh, look at that. We did break past the golden pocket, but we're sitting right here at the 786, which is perfectly in line with the previous lows. Not good. I mean, it's good that we're getting a push up, but the 786 is right in line with where this 20 moving average is, which we're kind of attempting to break right now. But we have all this zone right here that we truly need to get through to have any real hope for a positive price action right now. We see right now, this also looks a bit like, I wouldn't call this a bear flag, but this is looking like a bearish structure, because we have this rising channel like this. And look at this. It's starting to get rejection right here at the 786 and the previous lows of this range. If we cannot get through this and test this weekly VWAP at 27 cents, I do think this is going to probably come down, find a little bit of support on 26.1, and then likely come down and test lower into the 25s again. The question is going to be, can it hold bottom side of this candlestick body right here at 25.1? If we lose that, then we are dropping further. VWAP is angled down right now. What is the stochastics doing? Stochastics already overheated here. Look at this. Stochastics overheated, and all we're doing is barely getting a push up to the bottom side of the previous range. So yeah, this is not looking too super hot. Again, unless we get that positive narrative injection of hope in the markets today. So let's talk about it. I guess there's too much going on in the markets that TradingView and OBS and YouTube are like, we can't even process all this alpha that you're sharing. If you like what's going on in the stream, everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join us here in our community, ding the bell so you can see when we're going live. I got another great video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be released. There's going to be a short version released on BitBoy Crypto, and the full-length interview is going to be released on BitLab Academy. It's going to be with me and Mark Yusko. Mark Yusko is one of the smartest people in the space. Really excited to be sharing that interview, so definitely check that out. It's going to be going live at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. You can watch it anytime. It's going to be an evergreen video about investing and strategy, and I mean, it's a great video. I do not know. I'm going to close my Discord. I think that might help things a little bit. All right, let's go ahead, do Turbo TA real quick. Everybody wanted to look at Injective. So we'll look at Injective really quick. Oh, look at that nice V-shaped recovery here. That's on the 1 hour. Let's look at the 4 hour. Strong sell-off. See that? Boom, all the way down. A little bit of a chop here, down, and then back up. If we can clear this level right here, then we may be seeing some upside action. Question is going to be, things are following the narrative of the market right now, and there's fear in the market. We see on the dashboard here on the bottom right, it's leaning a little bit more bullishly, but I will say it is bullish that we have broken through the bottom side range here, and we're getting a little bit of a rejection right here. The question is going to be what happens in the zone. Are we going to see further breakdown? As it stands right now, if we break this, then we have all these lower highs, and this is another trend line I'm seeing as we're looking at this. Look at that. Boom. Rejection, rejection. If we can break through this, maybe we're going to test higher. The next level will be right here on Injective. That's 822. If we can get up into that level, we can also say that there's a level right here. If we have any bearishness, a little bit of a rejection at 795. If this does get rejected here, then I'm expecting to come back down and test somewhere in this region down here, 712. If we lose that, it will be basically 712 to 69 somewhere. Let's actually do it on the lower side. If we do get rejected, maybe we get some constriction here. But in all honesty, I do think things are on the edge here. Stochastics are a little bit overheated. RSI is pretty high. VWAP's starting to roll over. We gotta see how this plays out. So I'm not going to really give a signal there because I don't know. AVAX. Look how low this guy went. Remember, I sold August 4th. Where's that at? I sold here. I sold somewhere like right here. And you know what happened? I'm just like you. I sold. I felt like the best trader ever because I sold on the top side of this zone right here, and price came down. I was like, I know what's up. And then price came up above that level I sold from. I was like, I'm not jumping back in. I know my strategy. And I also know that on AVAX, I was looking at this right here. Sorry. I was looking at this right here. So although I sold right here, it came down. When this came up, I knew we had a trend line right above us. So I just held, even though I was a little bit on the wrong side of the trade for a second, a day or two. Then it just started working its way back down, and then we got the collapse, and it's like, yes, I made the right decision. Now the question is, will this recover? Well, and how much has it recovered? First steps first, let's go to this breakdown point right here. Now look at this. Smaller cap coins a lot of times use a 786, similarly to like larger cap like Bitcoin and Ethereum using the golden pocket. In this case, this broke all the way down here. The price action recovered. The bulls came back in, came all the way up. Look at this, 786, but also right here, the 20 moving average. Also right here, this EMA ribbon in the dynamic resistance zone, and we're finding rejection right here. Currently, the question is going to be, now we're trapped between the 786 and the golden pocket. Is this going to chop around in here and then work its way up? Or is this going to lose this golden pocket and come down and try and test back into the low 10s? As it stands right now, it's kind of hard to determine what's going on because of everything. Momentum still angled down. We had a lot of selling pressure. If we look at this on the 1 hour, ooh, is it a little bit of a head and shoulders forming here? I didn't see this before. So we have a shoulder. If there's going to be a head, if there's going to be a little bit of a push up in here, roll over. If this were to be the case, What does this mean? If this is going to be the case, it's not there yet. This is going to test down into the mid 10s. If that happens, if this comes up and takes out the basically $11 region, then we're going to be looking at testing out to the lower mid 11s. That's what we're looking at. What else we want to look at? XRP. You know what, guys? XRP. Wait a minute. We're on the wrong chart here. That's okay. There is. XRP, remember everybody. Oh, look at that. It went down below where it was before this XRP news pump. Talk about a good entry down here at 42 cents, 43 cents. Anybody grab any XRP at 43 cents? As soon as it's broke up here, we know that we have this level from what? This point and this point and this point. Projected out, that's exactly where it rejected off up here. And it's also the golden pocket of this entire move. Of this move from here to the bottom side, golden pocket in line with this projected multi-year trend line right here. Rejected. And on this, I drew a Fibonacci and I told people, hey, we're looking at potentially coming down to the golden pocket. And if not, we're going to be testing somewhere in this mid to low 50s. We got a lot of bad news. And look at this. This did test back here. But look, what I really appreciate is this parallel channel that we have right here. And the price action came below it and sucked right back inside of it in these two 12-hour candles. What does it look like on the 4-hour? 4-hour, look at that. We're riding on this zone. Riding on this zone. Not only do we have this trend line right here, this diagonal trend line, it's sitting here right on the zone of this rising level of support and this descending level of support. Question is going to be right here. If we do lose this level and there's a lot of bad news, then we may be seeing some even lower prices right there. 40 cents. Next level would be about right there. 35 cents. That's if we continue breaking down. And look at this. We do see some things resetting. So I would think that this would probably have some sort of move to the upside. And we want to see, especially on a golden pocket breakdown of this, option F, make this wide. Look at that. On this entire move, it's already hit that golden pocket and got rejected. So this is not looking super bullish. But we want to see what happens as this plays out right here. There is potential for further downside. Everybody, I hope you're trading well. I hope you're trading smart. Let's go ahead and look at H-bar before we go. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be doing the winners of the contest. By the way, if you want to enter the contest, all you have to do is head to BitLab Academy right here at Academy BitLab. Hit that follow button. Make sure you're following us. Look for the gold check so you're following the right one. Hit the retweet, hit the like button. Make sure that you check out the YouTube stream tomorrow here on BitLab Academy's YouTube, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. If you haven't yet, get involved at BitLab. If you want to know what the hell we're doing, how you can look at the charts and make sure you can see what's going on and come up with the strategies and analysis that inform you of what you need to be doing to help to stack the probabilities in your favor, come join us at bitlabacademy.com. We have all these courses as well as a lot of continued support in our premium Discord. That's a part of the membership. You get access to all these different courses, and we got a lot of stuff in the works that's going to be integrated into this. More courses, more lessons, all this. Just click right here on the top right, enroll now. When you click on that, if you want just the courses in the premium Discord, right here, I want all access. If you want the courses and all the indicators that we were showing you as well, sign up right here for BitLab Pro. You get about 30% off every month when you buy everything as a bundle, and you get the indicators, the premium Discord, and access to all the courses we have. So definitely check all that out. Now, before we go, let's look at H-bar. H-bar, push up. Are we going to get a little bit of a head and shoulders here? I don't know, but what do we talk about? When we have a low, and then we get a lower low right here. We have a higher low, higher high, followed by a higher lower low. Question here, are we going to get a lower high and then continue breakdown? Stochastics, RSI, VWAP angled up, money flow still negative, momentum to the downside. Where is this going to push up to? Is it only going to make it to somewhere like, let's actually go to the whole length of the wick. So look at this. We're getting currently rejected at the golden pocket. If we break down from this, is this going to be another low right here? It's not looking too good for some of these altcoins. I think it's a little bit of a sit on the sideline situation. Yesterday was a buying opportunity. If you're watching the charts when we had the dip, quick scalp. But right now, I think we need to figure out what direction things are going to go. So with that being said, I love you all. I appreciate you all. Make sure that you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, and you ding that bell. Again, my name's Kellam. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. And I think it's time to wrap out the show and go check out some news over on BitBoy Crypto, or do whatever else you want to do. Get out of the charts if you need to, if that's what it means for you to be able to sit on your hands and not do something if you don't have a strategy. So with that being said, I love you all. I appreciate you. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Hit that like button, sucker.